Hi, I'm Dina Wakley, and I'm so excited about this new tool that the Ranger Art Department created for us. This is a color wheel, but done with the Dina Wakley Media paints. And so I'll show you how I like to use this to create pages that sing with color. Here are the new charts made by the great Ranger Art Department to help you with your color choices. And I think, most of you have a color wheel, and you look at that color wheel, but then how do you, have practical application to the color paints that you own? So here is the Dina Wakley color wheel. We put them in basic color wheel order, and we put all of my different paint colors in the order that I would put them in. You might have a disagreement there, but for the most part, this is the order in which they would appear on the color wheel. And hopefully this will help you as you make color choices. Also available are some of the charts with the basic color schemes that work really well for art. So here's Analogous Colors with my colors listed there. And analogous means next to each other on the color wheel. Analogous with complement, we'll talk more about this in a second. A few different options, and this is not all the options. There are more options to choose from. Complementary, near complementary, and everything's defined as well. So you'll have a definition at the top as well. Triadic. There are more than that as well, but these are my most used. And listen, color can be complicated. If you go to art school, your color class can be a whole semester. So this is a simplified version of color that really works for me and is very, very practical. Now, my most used method for doing color is that I will do analogous colors. So analogous, like I said, are next to each other on the color wheel. They're neighbors. Okay, so I choose neighbors, and then to add visual pop, I go all the way across the color wheel and add a color from the opposite side. If they're exactly across, they're considered complementary, but for our purposes, if I go almost all the way across, that's called a near complement. That's going to give me color pop as well. So let's make a really quick, easy page, and I'll show you how I like to do that. So if you look at this analogous page, you can get ideas for colors that blend well together and look good. And then flip over to analogous with complement. I'm going to do this one: peacock, ocean, sky, and tangerine. Now what I want to mention is that tangerine and sky will make brown when they mix. And this is the problem that people face when going far across on the color wheel. So you might love these and you think, okay, it's going to be orange that pops it. And then you travel all the way around the color wheel only to find you've made mucky mud, because anything that is a lot of pie wedges away from each other, that's when you get in Danger Will Robinson territory. So I love blue and orange together, but I just don't put them in the same wet layer. So here's how I like to go. So I have my colors here. I have ocean, I have sky, I have peacock. The great thing about analogous colors is that they don't make brown when they mix. They make other pleasing colors. And I find that really helpful, that I can begin a page and not start with icky brown. Well, because listen, the color that you make when you're mixing accidental colors is not pretty vintage photo brown. It's poopy, icky brown. So you don't want to make mud. That's why we call it making mud. So I took those colors, I'm using a wet brush. This is the large Dina Wakley Media journal. I'm just doing a light wash of those colors, and before we turned the video on, I had done a gesso circle right in the middle of the page. So you should be able to see it starting to appear. What's cool about that is this paper that is not primed at all will absorb the paint so much differently than this middle section that is primed. And so you get a cool tone-on-tone effect without having to work very hard at all. And I like easy art. I feel like art is not supposed to be really, really difficult. Now if I want to get some color and pattern in there, I can. That's really soggy. But I'm going to use this new stencil here. I think it looks like waves. I think we called it waves, actually. Taking a baby wipe, and I'm just getting rid of some of that paint. Oops, it's too wet. See how it was too wet? This is what's so forgiving. Since that was too wet and it was puddly, because I've gessoed, what I can do is wipe it up and start again. So I'm going to put a little more full strength on there, paint, and a little less water, and then try again. Now, on this ungessoed surface, you can't light paint up because it's soaked in, it's grabbed. And I think that's why I call gesso a little bit of insurance. If you've gessoed, you can always recover. Okay, that's going to turn out better, I think. Oh yes, much better. See my little waves happening there? Let's do a little bit of this one. It kind of looks like water drops. I'm going to choose another analogous color. So this is marine. Bottom line is, if you stick with colors that are already going on in your background when you add stenciling, you're not going to get into trouble. If you start introducing colors that are not going on, sometimes you'll make mud if they're too far apart, or sometimes it'll work out if they're not too far apart. So just play. You know, if you make mud, that's how you learn. You'll never get better at all of this if you don't make a few ugly pages. Okay, so there's my little ocean happening there. Now remember I said, according to the chart, that the color that's going to pop is going to be orange. So let me show you the chart again. Analogous with complement. This is the one that I'm doing. Peacock, ocean, and sky. Added a little marine as well. So tangerine is what's going to pop. And I decided to do little fishies. And so these fishies need orange, tangerine, cheddar, something on the other side of the color wheel. So here is where I began. And then that means I've got to travel all the way around on this side to color my fishies so that they pop. If you want them to blend in, then you stay on this side. If you want them to pop, you travel all the way around the color wheel. And I'm going to take scribble sticks, dipping it in the water, and just coloring. You don't need to dip it in the water first. You can just color dry and then wet it with a brush like that. Perfect. My water's really dirty. Now I have a green fish. Cool. I tend to only change the water if it's turning my artwork a gross color. That might qualify actually. So a little bit of cheddar. Cheddar will be like tangerine, just a little bit of a different tone to it. It's going to have more yellow in it than tangerine does. So you get like a tone on tone happening there. And then also across the color wheel is red and pink. So you can continue coloring your fish with a little bit of Sedona, ruby, magenta, fuchsia. Any of those colors, because they're so far apart from the blues on the color wheel, are what is going to make your fishies really pop off the background. So as that's going, can you see the difference? So take your time and get your fishies colored. By the magic of TV, here are my fish that I already did. Look how they're popping right off the page, because they are the analogous background with the complement happening in the fish. And I did a little saying from the set. This is the new Scribbly Fishies. Happiness comes in salty water. I can add more stenciling. I can add any bit of speckle, splatter, fun stuff that I want. This is the lapis stick, and I'm just circling it around. Once I get those glued on there, I'm going to have a great little ocean page ready for me to write all my journaling. In fact, I think journaling works great on those lines that I did with the stencil. And I've got a page that has maximum color impact. So I really hope you enjoy this new tool. It'll be on the website. We'll post the links. And the tools really will give you real world examples for great color schemes that you can try with the Dina Wakley Media paints. Have a blast.